I wasn't mentally strong as like a youth or whatever. So like the older I got and the more I started to see these things and these mindset things, I was like, man, that's what I want my teams to look like.
Ooh.
And for them to do that is just maybe one of the most gratifying things in my life, to be that mentally tough in those situations.
Totally. Welcome to the FocalFlip podcast. Every week we take a deep dive into the mystery and stigma behind mental health and explore real life stories of struggle and triumph. We aim to educate and encourage others as we bring together a diverse group of guests. From the streets to sanctuaries, classrooms to boardrooms, mental health does not discriminate, neither do we. Prepare to laugh, prepare to cry, prepare to be changed. Let's get into it. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the FocalFlip podcast, and I have our sports episode number 1, and I have an awesome guest today. Today I have Brent Sowder. Brent Sowder, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
I love it, man. So Brent Sowder is he's the new head coach for the Campbell County Camels boys basketball team. He was a JV coach prior. He has such a unique and interesting story and leadership skills and teaching type skills, and just kind of we're excited to have him here to dive into it. So, Brent, number 1, welcome again. But what a year the 2023-2024 Campbell County Camels had. Your first year as head coach.
Yeah.
After Aric Russell.
The legend. The GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
He's a great coach.
Yeah.
So, Sowder, talk to me about what this experience, like your first year and assuming that role, and reflect on the season a little bit. I want to highlight everybody here.
Yeah, it was, I would say when I got the job, late March 2023, like the first inclination, like, yes, that's awesome. I'm so excited. And then all that wears off and you're like, oh, it's time to get to work. And like, there's a big shoes to fill. You don't want to let down anybody that's put that trust in you. So you just kind of like, the realization hits pretty quickly of like what you've taken on or what I've taken on.
Yeah.
And so we got things rolling, had a real good summer, ran into some adversity here and there in the preseason.
Can't wait to dive into that.
Yeah, okay. But it was it was a special season. I don't think you can beat it. Going 27-7. I can't speak highly enough of my staff, of those kids that bought into what we were doing. They played so hard. I had so many people come in, from the community come up and tell me how proud they were of the way they represented the community, and that's the good stuff for me, because I always told them, like, I don't care about wins and losses, which you do to an extent. We're all competitive people.
Yeah, we care. But we care,
but it's all about effort and, like, playing with it. Because, if you give effort, all that stuff takes care of itself. So, 27-7, make a run in the Sweet 16, make it to the Final 8. Mm-hmm. The shot to get us to the Sweet 16 will live in Campbell County lore with Garyn Jackson with the double cross 3 against Harrison County.
We're going into that today. I can promise you that.
So it was a special year. I mean, those kids, I told them they're stuck with me. Like, they're family for life, because everything they did, the way they handled themselves, the way they bought into what we were doing, it was just special. I can't say enough good about it. I still pinch myself to make sure it was real. I'm afraid I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like February of 2023. And they're like, oh, none of that actually happened. That's how much of a dream that season was.
Dude, that's why you're here. Not just because you're a friend of mine, but that's why you're here. That is everybody in Northern Kentucky and the area just know that's a great accomplishment. And collectively, that's a big effort from a lot of different folks.
Yeah, it takes everybody working together. It's like just rowing the same direction. If you have one person rowing the other direction, it's going to be difficult. But they all were like, no, these are our goals. Let's go make this happen. And they all stayed together, and we all rowed together, and we were able to accomplish some great things.
That's amazing. So here's what I want to here's where I want to start with the 23-24 season. How many 1,000-point scores did you lose from last season? Because this is where it gets interesting. Because when you lay the foundation of kind of like what happens when you go season to season as a coach and then players, let's talk about who was
Yeah, for sure.
there before.
So that 22-23 team was a special group too. Great kids. You had Aiden Hamilton, who is the leading scorer in Campbell County history. I mean, over 2,000 points. Just a phenomenal athlete, dynamite. He's an awesome kid too. And then Jake Gross, 1,000-point scorer, shooter. They had a lot of talent. We lost a lot of offensive firepower with those guys, and like leadership and things like that. So you got to have guys step up. Yeah. So it was that 22-23 team was really good in its own right. And then Coach Russell decided it was time to kind of go on to some other things. Like, I mean, as many region titles and all those things that he's got, he felt like that was the time. So here, basically almost a whole new cast of characters on the big stage. Like we were all familiar with each other, like JV and all that stuff and the staff. But but like I said, we kind of just stepped up on the big stage together, me and those varsity players. And like, all right, let's see what we got. So
yeah, and you all did you not only perform, you performed really, really well. 27-7 is an absolutely incredible record. Shout out to all those guys, the staff, the trainers, admin. That's awesome because it's extremely, extremely difficult to win a regional title.
Yes, it's very difficult.
It is, and I'm gonna try to help show people that by showcasing some coaches and players on here too. And it's so tough. And then the way that you guys kind of did it, and where you were positioned through the year, and then you got big, tough GRC. Maybe lost 3 games.
Yeah.
How many did they lose?
Their final record was 30-3, I think, like that. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So they lost 2 games going into the regional tournament.
I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So talk about these wins. And then you have Newport. We're going to get into that too.
Yeah.
You guys are tasked with a juggernaut of Newport Wildcats.
Yeah. You talk about
Snapping company.
A well-coached team. They play extremely hard. Like Newport, they're a special group. They're a special group. Won an all-A state title. So I mean,
and that's hard to do too.
Yeah, we had they took out Travis Perry in Lyon County, so that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
But that is we did not. Nobody could say we had an easy path. We had to fight tooth and nail to get where we did. But yeah, that GRC game in the regional semifinal, it's basically. It's a situation where you talk to the kids, you get your game plan together. We knew what we had to do to win. We knew we had to guard the 3-point shot. We knew we had to win the battle of the boards. And we looked at each other. In the practice before, we all looked like, we're going to win. We're going to win this game.
Manifesting that.
Yeah, sucker, that's what we did all year. All year we would talk about what's going to happen. If we do this, this, and this is what's going to happen. In that GRC game, I was like, look, I told him in the pregame, I was like, all right, here's what's going to happen. When we get up double digits, don't act surprised. I was like, this is where we're supposed to be. This is what we're supposed to do. So don't get amazed that you're up double digits and all that, because they got the hearts of champions. They're going to come right back and make a run. So you can't be mesmerized or amazed by anything.
Absolutely.
So we were able to get up 17 at half. And they came back and cut it to 5. We called timeout, and because we talked about it, they were like, "All right, they made the punch. Let's punch back. Let's see what we got." And just credit to those kids that they were able to do that, and we were able to pull that out.
Yeah.
That's a really good GRC team.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
That's this entire time you spoke so far. There's so many we's in there, and it just fires me up. I love it because it is a collective effort, and those kids looking up to you, they've been around you for a while. Do you teach history?
Yeah, I teach U.S. history in Campbell County.
Okay, so you've been around kids and stuff for a while. You've done this. You teach U.S. history and coaching and whatnot. So these kids kind of draw to you and they like you, and then you have this whole new level of pressure.
Yeah, and it is,
and they rally behind you and for you and you for them.
Yeah.
Really
that's
cool.
Those are the things that kind of gets me emotional thinking about that.
Sure.
Because the way those kids fought tooth and nail, and my motivation is more intrinsic than it is outside all that space. I don't like talking about myself. You know that I don't like
I did
the we and all that. I just didn't want to let any of those kids down. I like those kids.
Dude.
I like the families. I love those kids. Like, I don't want to be the one to be like, we could have went farther, but you didn't do this or that. So that intrinsic motivation is more powerful. That lit a fire in me more than anything that I could have ever asked for, just because the quality of the young men that I was coaching.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. We originally met through a mutual friend and in the coaching game, and I was coaching some JV basketball.
Yep.
Fumbling through, just learning stuff, and you were an amazing friend helping me in the JV game.
You're awesome, man.
It was fun.
It's been that's the great thing about coaching in Northern Kentucky, man, is that fraternity. All those guys, like I'll talk to we go to the conference meeting or whatever, and those coaches, the Northern Kentucky coaches, and everybody is just, you're competitive, you want to win, all that, but we're all in the fire. They know the difficulties of it or whatever. So that support system is very important within like the Northern Kentucky basketball community, and that goes with like us a few years ago as JV coaches.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to be doing here on FocalFlip, is bringing everybody on, because all these folks are competing against one another. It's like we flip a switch. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like you can just, and it's become an art.
It really, for sure.
And you watch the really good guys and the really great coaches and good women, and you're like, I need to take pieces from that.
Oh yeah. If you're not learning from these guys in this area, then I don't know what to tell you, because I take stuff every year. Yeah. Even watching as a JV mental note. I told Coach Russell every year for the first 6 or 7 years he'd do something. I was like, mental note. I just took a mental note of how he handled it, because that man never, in my mind, never took a false step. He was just so wise in how he like handled situations and practice. Like, oh, this kid may have had this struggle in the class, and like, okay, he's going to chew him out. No, it was a private conversation. They worked through it, and that kid came out positive. Everybody come out feeling positive, and I'm like, it's just mental notes like that.
That's awesome.
So just watching.
That's Coach sharpening iron right there.
Yeah. So just learning from him, watching, and then I see like other coaches in game. You know how it is. Like, oh, they're down 2 with 10 seconds left. What's he gonna do? And then like, oh, that was really good. Like, middle note. So, stuff like that. So,
that was really good.
Yeah.
So speaking of those kind of things, I think about a moment this season. You're playing down at the field house.
Old Mason County.
And there's this kid named Garyn Jackson.
Yes. Yeah.
Garyn, shout out Garyn Jackson. Shout out Garyn Jackson, both cameras.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh.
I've watched this video so many times.
Yeah.
And
I have too.
You sent me the clip, and I've got it, and it's going to pop up in this thing. But tell me about this.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about that moment. We could talk about tons of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's just talk about this moment. This was the ticket puncher, man. Like,
it was.
We're going to talk about everything from the shot, the play, the design, what you did, and then we're going to talk about how your little bald butt sitting down in the corner, stressing out. And I know from the digital side, Sowder's not trusting that this one is. So let's talk about Garyn's shot. Man.
Yeah. So first thing you got to know about Garyn is he's a wee guy too. Like he was getting asked about it at press conferences at Rupp Arena or whatever, and he was just kind of like bristle almost, because he wants to talk about his teammates. But when you do something that special, my goodness, you need to be celebrated a little bit. Yeah. So Garyn is, just a little bit about him personally. He's effervescent is my description for him. Like, he's just so enthusiastic. Wow. He bounces on the court, like when he comes into practice, and he's inclusive of everybody, gets everybody on board. Like, he's just a natural born, like people gravitate towards him. So coach's dream. Yeah, it is. Parents' dream. I told him, people's dream. Yeah. I've told him, I was like, you're a first-year coach cheat code, because it's just the way he is, because he's like another coach on the floor. That's so cool. You're like, thank goodness I have him. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I'm so thankful for him. All those guys, but Garyn, absolutely. But Garyn, we'd worked on last-second situations. Somehow he would always end up on the right wing, and somehow he'd always hit the shot. And I could hear him in practice, let's go! Like, that's what he would do. Every time he hit the last second shot, I was like, all right, we're going to put 4 seconds up. Let's go! Yeah. In the game situations. Yeah. And it was he'd always end up at that wing. So, lo and behold, Mason County, there he is. I draw up a play that has him going to the left wing, and it gets flipped
So he didn't go to the left wing.
He did not go to the left wing. It got flipped. Everything was confused. That's what somebody was like.
Did
great,
you freak
great,
out?
No, everybody's like.
Did you freak
somebody
out?
was like, great draw up, coach. I was like, the best thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. The best thing that I did in that timeout was just say, if anything messes up, Garyn gets the ball. I was like, if anything messes up, Garyn gets the ball. If they're in a different defense, whatever, Garyn gets the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So he got it in, ran. If you see the video, he runs it almost. Yeah, just grabs the ball, and then just makes a dynamite.
What is the double
crossover move? Yeah, it was nasty. It's like it's marinara because it's so saucy. That's my joke. I was like, it's a marinara move. But
you are my favorite nerd.
That's I'm a big one.
We're going to be getting into the nerdiness of us too.
Yeah, I know. That's what in practice.
Dude, that double crossover was just it was cool.
Yeah,
I mean, and like
he had the intuitive nature to know that. All right, I got to get up. You can see in the video. He looks up he knows this clock situation. Yeah. And he nailed it. He nailed the shot. And practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. All that stuff. But
totally. Hey, real quick, I'll cut you off on this because I want to say this thing about Garyn. I'll tell you this, folks. One of the reasons why Brent or Coach Sowder or Mr. Sowder wanted to have the ball in Garyn's hands is if you check out Ryherds and you all follow players, you see he is a high clip percentage player.
Yeah, he's 60% over. I think over 60%.
Yeah, it is. That's a phenomenal percentage.
Yeah,
and it's really, really good. And then he's coming back.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
I'm so excited for the two of you and the whole whole team, of course. But just taking that from the season.
Yeah. And so he hit that shot. And then, like, to talk about some plays previous to that game, what made me so proud is different people stepped up at different times. The mental toughness to that. We're up 10-12 in the third quarter. We're up 10 in the fourth quarter, and they come storming back. They go up 2. They go up 2 points, or up 1 or 2. I can't remember. And it's like 54-52 or something. Or I can't remember the exact score. So, like, all of Cynthiana over there is just going nuts. It's the loudest I've ever heard the field house. And I was like, I got to get these people to be quiet a little bit. I was like, time out. I just whispered time out to the ref. We draw up a play.
Did you actually whisper it?
I did. I was like, time out, sir. Time out. Yeah. So it's just like.
So gentle, respectful.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's me.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
But then, like, I draw up a play I put in Brock Sorgenfry, who had an unbelievable, like, you talk about a kid that can score the ball.
Dude, he's good.
Yeah, he's solid.
We hadn't even got the Brock yet.
I know, yeah, but I drew up a play for him to hit a 3, and he has the mental toughness. He falls down, gets himself back up, hits the 3. That's mental toughness. Like, everything's going wrong. Connor Weinel had struggled for a little bit, hits a huge 3. Like, my
ice
senior,
water in their veins.
Yeah, my double guy, and that's just the mental toughness of that group. There wasn't anything that was going to break them.
Wow, man! Shout out to those kids.
Yeah.
Shout out to those young men. I'm sorry, you guys are young men because having that kind of personality and those character traits says a ton about the leaders and their parents.
Yes.
And that's cool because what I take in from that, kids like that make your job easier, man.
For sure. For sure.
I like for that. It sounds like you naturally had them wanting to execute, having their own accountability of one another.
Yes.
That's what
that's big, and that's so one of the big mental notes I took from Coach Russell. And the other, there's so many good programs.
Yeah.
It's just that's the one I've been a part of.
Sure.
But like in practice or whatever, I hadn't seen it before I came to Campbell or whatever. But like we'd be having a bad practice, and a senior would go, "Hey man, this ain't what we do here. We need to pick it up." So senior ownership of that, and like that's something different. That doesn't happen.
Layers of accountability.
Yeah. Like, hey, that's not what we do here. Let's pick it up to the younger guys.
That's
big.
Reeks tradition. Reeks
the culture.
Culture.
It's culture.
Yeah,
and that's what our whole message throughout the tournament was. Like all the postseason was like, there ain't nothing bigger than us. Well, no matter what we're facing, us as a team unit, there's nothing that's bigger than us. No matter what's happening, stay together, Stay with each other, trust your coaches. Nothing's bigger than us. We can handle it all.
I love it.
And that Harrison County game is probably the big example of that in my head, because they just handled a heck of a run by a heck of a Harrison County team.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you've seen these games where a team gets up big and then the other team comes storming back, and that team that had the lead, they fall apart.
Yeah.
And these guys, every time that would happen, they would be like, all right, bet. As the kids said.
They do.
Yeah.
All right, bet.
All right, yeah. And that's what made it so much fun, because like we don't have to get into, but like I wasn't mentally strong as like a youth or whatever. So like the older I got and the more I started to see these things and these mindset things, I was like, man, that's what I want my teams to look like.
Ooh.
And for them to do that is just maybe one of the most gratifying things in my life, to be that mentally tough in those situations.
Totally. Absolutely.
Because a lot of times postseason, it feels like to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've been in coaching, but a lot of times in postseason, it feels like a race to make whatever group of seniors feel like it could be their last game.
Yeah.
It's a race to that. And once one group of seniors
trying to drill that piece home to say like that last piece of taking your jerseys off sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you start thinking like that, now you start to tense up and you start to make mistakes and things like that. And they had that thought and they were able to kind of get through it somehow. But
poise and composure, resilience.
Yeah.
It reeks of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on a great season.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I've got Coach Snap, and then I think Kenny's coming on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so those guys are going to come on and be chatting
Yeah.
about some things. So excited for that. So congrats again on the championship.
Thank you.
The trip to Rupp. We're going to bring you back in on some panel stuff.
Yeah.
But you started to talk about that mental piece.
Yes.
All right. So with that, I'm going to end up. This is a perfect segue for us to go into a part 2.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this thing up. We're going to turn this thing right back around, and we're going to flip it right back, and we're going to get into the mental piece. We've kept this sucker right at a little under 30 minutes. Okay. So we keep your attention. We keep you rolling with it. Now we hit
Let's
the
do
mental
it.
health.
Yes, sir.
And it's time to do the juggernaut work. So hit like. Hit, what is it? Subscribe it.
Like, subscribe, tap that bell.
Follow
all those things.
Follow all of it.
Yeah.
Like swipe up.
Yeah.
Swipe. All right.
Whatever it takes, do it.
Okay, we love y'all. Okay, you ready to wrap this thing up?
If you like FocalFlip's videos, my dad's videos, go to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and like and subscribe to be updated.
I love it.